The Xbox, the world's futuristic looking box that could play games on it, famous for Halo, and more importantly, Big Mother Truckers. A title us as people still obsess over. When you see a cover art that has you feel as if you're about to smooch a urinal to give yourself a bunch of red bumps on your lips, how could you not be excited? Earl was the easy choice of character for me, entering me into my first mission of ramming into mailboxes because someone's career is going to get ruined if I don't, apparently. It's a bit of a strange feeling to be tearing down the road in a truck of this size just to destroy mailboxes, but of course, this feeling eventually does get overshadowed by more off-the-rail shenanigans. Like when you're attempting to accomplish your goal, if you take the wrong turn, you need to restart the entire mission over, to repeat traveling your slow ass all the way through these streets again. Which is the entire game, by the way. You travel from point 1 to point 2, either delivering an item, or if you're lucky, there is a silly Tickle Tease add-on to drive the fun home, such as wheeling down the road with popcorn kernels in the back, and you need to run over fire hydrants to cool your truck down. Or maybe you'll get a prison meal of needing to spam A while participating in a raunchy-ass tug-of-war game in your truck. But by far, my favorite minigame you play while hauling your load to its destination is avoiding the mysterious tribalistic gremlins who pick your trailer up to flail it around whenever they please. Tossing out a "that doesn't work for me, brother," followed by a pin 1, 2, 3, you cannot control yourself anymore. The situation makes handling what is already challenging controls even more of a frustration. And yeah, I get it, we're a big mother trucker driving a rocket monster on wheels. It just makes the game unplayable when the trailer is preparing for liftoff unannounced, or when it decides to spin dash off the walls, bouncing you all over the place. This predicament surely would make anyone feel like a young swordsman on Christmas, praying, wishing, and hoping all at once to receive the sequel as a gift, because this actually has one somehow. They decided to name it Big Mother Truckers 2 Truck Me Harder, where thankfully the brains wanted to add a bit more character to this one. We can learn here our buddy Earl hates communists, un-Americans, and salads, but I chose to go with Ric Flair, cause why not, right? Seeing the nature boy peeling down the road in a massive vehicle is the action the world needs to witness. My first amazing race, we'll call it, was similar to the previous entry, where you're driving down the road after brushing your teeth with a bottle of Jack, ramming into aliens. I can't really say it's a knuckled down improvement over the last, so if you wanted to get your money's worth, you need to fully invest yourself into the story. Obviously being where the real intrigue comes from, who in their right mind isn't ready to indulge themselves into the nature boy or whichever member of this family you chose, trying to get their mom out of jail. As you sit there scraping up change, doing very simple and straightforward missions, interacting with a bunch of goofballs who have oatmeal with dinosaurs bowled inside their skull, dropping nonsensical surfer lingo the entire time. I'm assuming the whole environment of this game is supposed to be satire. I refuse to believe anyone was taking this seriously, so it's in the onlookers' hands if they want to ugly laugh over it. For me, I just question what I'm doing and why. If I received this as a gift in 2003, I would have wondered why the person who gave it to me wants me to evict myself off this earth. In reality, both Big Mother Truckers entries are the same game, having you repeatedly drive back and forth, skating on ice, to keep doing what is essentially the same objective reskinned. It's a shame these guys didn't take inspiration from Big Rigs. I think that would have made the game a lot more fun. If we could go in reverse, speeding at 100,000 miles per hour, staying one step ahead of the law, that would make Big Mother Truckers a memorable game. Jesus would undoubtedly give Big Mother Truckers a front row seat during the rapture for that play. That is, unless I get to see him first and have him bunk with me to play some Shrek Super Party. I love the audacity this game has to call the mini-games epic battles or daring duels in the opening. It's like saying you're gonna siege a local merchant for his goods when you're going grocery shopping. Like, what the fuck is that? All we're doing is hucking loogies at beans falling off of a stalk or jumping on lily pads. Also, it's kind of jarring how smudged the graphics are for the original Xbox. There's PS1 titles that were sporting a nicer aesthetic. This console was the most powerful between itself, the GameCube, and the PS2. What happened? It's sad poor Shrek couldn't be his cutting-edge self, slamming down a barn burner as we usually expect him to. Seriously, if you've seen Shrek's Treasure Hunt, you know what quality can be fried up by the big stink. I don't know how many video games in total the Green Machine has, but it seems never ending. Shrek Super Party is his party game, obviously, where I cannot say it rivals the true greats. I wouldn't even say it sniffs them, honestly. Every mini game I played during my power hour were incredibly bare bones or lame, with zero creativity used. The only value I found in Super Party is using it to add validity to physiognomy. When you see characters looking as deranged or as loopy as these ones do, you know they're getting involved in some weird shit. Mainly Lord Farquaad. I don't know what he did or what he knows that I don't, but he needs to stop before his eyes rocket out of his skull. Or he can continue if he wants. It doesn't matter to me in the heat of battle. He can angrily cheese to the high heavens till his face is permanently stuck that way. I waxed his shit in every minigame we played, since the only way I could enjoy myself was making pretend a cartoon character was out to get me. The singular, remotely interesting crumb of credit you could give Super Party as a game is the system where you trade bugs to get points, trying to make matches of them to increase your overall score, acquiring droplets of what I assume is some sort of psychedelic concoction these prehistoric pop figures all fiend over. In summary, Shrek Super Party is what might as well be considered shovelware for the kiddies, using a beloved heroic figure everyone looks up to sell their product. It shouldn't be too surprising though. Lots of movie-based titles are traditionally worthless trash, so it's expected. Where I didn't expect to see the shovelware adjacent gunk is from a car brand. The game is called Corvette. It's unsurprisingly a racing title, and instead of having gangs of vehicles to choose from, in this, it's Corvettes only, obviously. I don't really understand the appeal of it. Are there really people out there who want to play helicopter with the hog of a certain car brand? You got multiple Corvettes to choose from, separated by years, only having single-digit horsepower changes or whichever other statistical differences that are available, with practically all the car models being recycled. Does anyone actually care if they're driving the 91 convertible or the 95 convertible? The game is fully summoning the illusion of choice, since from a gameplay perspective, it literally doesn't matter which car you pick. Every car in each class performs inherently the same. You just pick from 6 different cars with the roof down that have no visual differences between each other, or maybe if you want the roof up, you get 6 different versions of that. The only customization option you get in this game is changing the color. So realistically, there might as well only be 1 car per category. That must be the reason there's no unlockables outside of new colors. Even worse, you can't even do anything with the cars either. No tuning, no nothing. You only acquire blanket upgrades during career mode that are just, here's 3 upgrades, that's it. They're career mode exclusive. What's funny is that they don't even do anything tangible because the difficulty is literally beating up an infant. Every car aside from the one in first seems to have a drunk driver at the wheel, strung out on meth or mentally on another planet as they're rampaging down the road, traveling at a pathetically slow pace. Winning is almost guaranteed unless you're not paying attention whatsoever. You don't need to get first to win either, only top 3, making it even easier. Corvette is genuinely the laziest possible way you could ever make a racing title, and what's nutty buddy about it is that this came before all the data design racing games where this practice was normalized. This might be the originator of the whole you might as well only have 1 car, have the player repeat the same tracks backwards hogwash, since that does happen in Corvette. How else can you pad out the game time, right? Don't try at all, just love the fuck out of the planet, recycle, 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 Control C, Control V, the same vehicle 6 times, change the name, and you're good to go. Never did I think the forefather of this mentality would be named Corvette full stop. You got a game where you race, 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 having no deviation and no taste of defeat. Nothing is greater in this world than you being forced to go to a store to pay money for your time to be wasted. I pledge allegiance to the Corvette. Now give me one so I can peel into the Playboy Mansion mansion and light up a stogie, or buy the game about it to get the full-on experience at home. Why Playboy the Mansion is a real thing is a question no human or deity could ever answer. You're playing as Hugh Hefner, waltzing around the kingdom for the 1%, preparing photo shoots, decorating your castle, and building relationships with the ladies you pay to be around you. It seriously feels like an 18-plus Sims mod, cause if it wasn't apparent enough, this game is basically a Sims clone. The characters even have the Ooga Booga language, speaking in ancient tongue. I love how your ears are blessed to hear this during their pixelized action on the couch, since you can get down and dirty. Needless to say, Playboy the Mansion is a game for men who would do everything in their power to hide the fact they spent any time playing it unironically. I really wonder how deep the market for this game was. Are there players who needed this so badly to the level a game needed to be created for it? I don't know. To be fair to it though, it's not a terrible game. There was genuine thought put into what you're doing as you slowly build the Playboy empire, selling your dirty magazines, which I guess isn't too mind-bending. The core gameplay of what you're doing was already done for them. They just monkey see, monkey dude with the Sims. It just had to be mentioned for the sheer fact of what it is. But I'm sad to admit I had more fun with it than I did playing Bruce Lee Quest of the Dragon. A title that I don't believe anyone would question what is going to unfold. You're playing as Bruce Lee, so it's law that you throw down with ninjas, pounding and pounding and pounding in the most flaccid way possible. Maybe they assumed due to you playing as the bowl-cut warlord amongst humans would carry the whole vibe, so adding any visual or audible satisfaction to what you're doing wasn't necessary. If so, I can't say the maneuver was successful. After a short time of mindlessly dunking on the enemies brought forth with your flurries of A's and B's, you enter a state of mind of wondering how the army of ants felt when you stepped on their hill a week prior. Although I probably wouldn't be feeling this way if the opposition actually pushed you against the wall, giving you a mouthful of teeth soup. Occasionally, you will see them blocking a few of your moves, but it's only a matter of time till Broccoli comes in to win the battle as he always does. Being somewhat understandable, if you've seen the movies, you'll know Brucey might as well have the ability to pull a Jesus walking on water or controlling nearby pottery with his mind as he stomps his way towards his opponents. It's a shame they didn't give us the power to witness that here. We're only able to light our fists and feet on fire to deal a bit of extra damage or unlock a few new moves to help him ascend the food chain that honestly don't matter that much. With how easy you can dog walk Quest of the Dragon, you're never gonna use the attacks. You're just gonna press A and you're going to fucking like it. Until a downrange toss of a pigskin spirals in your direction, entering you into a one-on-one battle segment that thankfully is not the whole game. A majority of the time, these scuffles result in crab roleplay where both fighters are squatting down towards the floor, taking turns becoming the tickle monster. It seriously makes Big Bruce look like he still drinks from a sippy cup. What a day it is to discover the Tekken games did a better job portraying Bruce Lee than a game that has his name in the title. And keeping in line with not living up to a legend, there is one game in particular that fancies the interest of beat-em-up fans more than others, thanks to it being attributed to killing a franchise: Final Fight Streetwise. In the 90s, Final Fight was a pretty popular beat-em-up, rivaling Streets of Rage with intrigue, so their idea to revolutionize the series for the new generation was to look at Def Jam Fight for New York, then try to emulate that, releasing these strange-looking figures rolled up in plastic wrap to have a slugfest against each other. In the case of Codeman here, he seems to have robotic innards, allowing him to pull off machine gun punches, raining hellstorms of them in the blink of an eye. The ruffian standing before me stood absolutely no chance. Shortly after I exited this war zone, I discovered I was hoodwinked. We are actually playing a beat-em-up game. Sort of. It's more like a semi-open world sometimes, but not really run around and do objectives game. Whenever you're wallowing in these sections, you don't even need to fight anyone unless you find an optional mission that tells you to, kinda going against the whole purpose of what Final Fight is. Although, there are civilians you can pulverize if you do have the urge to hospitalize them. Your only punishment is getting a lower respect rating that I honestly have no idea what it's attached to. It did didn't affect anything that I noticed, so I was happy existing as a killing machine. If I needed to be the village's dentist, I will become the dentist. If you choose not to become the doctor, you just run around looking for a big green arrow to enter an area in hopes of getting a bit of action. If you do happen to be blessed with some, you can of course use your knuckle sandwiches, baseball bats, pieces of wood, knives, or whatever you find on the ground to kill your enemies. I don't want to say the combat feel is terrible, I'm just confused on the in-between. What is the sense of having the player aimlessly run from area to area? The little side quests you get are kind of pointless to do. I stopped doing them after the first few, awaiting my next exciting moment, like walking into an office to see a lady of the night slobbering on a wrinkled Vienna sausage to then quick time the fuck out of the guy's skull with a door. This happened after the much anticipated arm wrestling match I had with his secretary, another part of the game that left me confused. Why am I running around stomping on piece of paper cockroaches scurrying on the floor? I wonder if the team felt as if this was the only way to make a beat 'em up title interesting in 2006. It's a mentality I somewhat understand. We've all seen the 200-year-old human life force, boring, snooze fest, goop ass beat 'em up games where you run to the left, pressing an attack button repeatedly with no charm, excitement, stimulation, or substance, never losing, never dying, win, win, win. So I can see the vision on paper. Sadly, it just seems like no one knew what they wanted to do with this or know how to make a more intricate beat 'em up title, so they tossed in a bunch of random ideas hoping the kiddies like it. They'll get bored, so we must put in another one-on-one fighting segment after an hour of playtime that's predator missiled in out of nowhere. At this point, I actually forgot I played one already at the beginning of the game, but this one made me realize how terrible the movement and combat feels. Countering attacks or getting in to deal damage is sickening to do without receiving damage yourself. You need to be incredibly careful with how you approach this guy, as you find opportunities to wail on the ultimate kung fu master 400 times thanks to the nanobots he has infused in his skin. However, if you have no interest in dealing with the story mode whatsoever, there is an arcade mode included for the fans, giving them the ultimate feeling of eroticism that's squashed in seconds. During the story mode, I didn't realize how unplayable the beat 'em up fighting can be, probably because you don't tussle against 7 or 8 enemies at once. While playing the arcade mode, you do, and they relentlessly curb stomp you, putting your chosen character through spin cycles, folding him up into a paper plane, tossing the guy right into an oil drum to hurl in a lit cigarette. No matter the character you play as, they are a slow, pathetic worm unable to exist in the environment they are supposed to thrive in. It's genuinely unreal how terrible the mode emulating what the series is known for plays. I spent more time napping on the sidewalk, not able to move, than I did dominating the local wildlife. Now, apparently, there are people who do believe this game is good for some reason. Then there's others who want it to be sent to hell so Satan himself can upchuck on it. I can only speak for myself, and I didn't enjoy anything about it. It's no wonder to me why it was received as poorly as it was by the streets. This reception, along with the poor sales, is the thing that led to the closing of Capcom Studio 8, in turn ending the franchise. It's not to say a comeback cannot ever be made. I guarantee if they stylized a new Final Fight similar to how Streets of Rage 4 is, certain groups of people would start worshipping owls outside their local game store to keep the bad juju away so they could get their hands on a copy. Will that actually happen? No, it won't. It's like asking someone to find a good Superman game. It's not possible. He's a character in our world who, to my understanding, has 0 good video games. You can never be excited when looking at a case of his. The only feeling coursing through the blood of the onlooker is anxiety. But we're talking about the Xbox, right? The future of gaming. So summoning Superman, Man of Steel into the fold is an all-time power play, bringing back Superman 64 for one last last night of fun is a fantastic idea. Well, it's not actually Superman 64, but it might as well be. You start off in this tutorial flying around the city where you can hardly control yourself. In Man of Steel, the whole game is permaflying though, so you need to get used to it. You move vertically with the left analog stick and horizontally with the right, where the left stick also kinda controls the camera. After all the playtime I had trying to figure it out, I still don't know how to make the camera move reliably. It only works when it decides to, I guess. Which is a pretty big problem when playing a 3D flying game, battling enemies in the sky who are teaching you the color coding secret of the Superman universe. Meaning, when you see a yellow robot, you press A or X to punch it, a purple robot, you press B to laser it, a green robot, you press Y to freeze it, and that's the combat. That's your combat feast for kings. The fighting is never expanded past this simplistic Arthur book bullshit. Outside of these combat scenarios we should all be gracious for, they blessingly decided to allow us all to blow flames out with our ice breath, and even toss in a few timed objectives, like picking up a radio tower to then move it somewhere else. Hence why I said Man of Steel might as well be a sequel to Superman 64. Both games share very similar problems, making the player partake in gameplay or combat that has no depth, while sprinkling in a couple heroic deeds in between. All we need here are a few rings as we fly from objective to objective, and you'll really get Man of Steel 64 hot off the press. I seriously believe there's an argument to be made about Man of Steel being worse than Superman 64. At least with that, there was some sort of an excuse as to why 64 was so disgusting. Plus, that game was the originator of Drek. Surely the reception was spread around like body odor in a jail cell, so you should be learning from another person's mistakes. But apparently, these knuckleheads just wanted to take inspiration from them. Is there nothing better you could make Superman be doing other than flying around to play Simon Says, killing color-coded enemies, blowing fires out, picking up a car that makes the controls function even worse? You'd think the motherfucker has wheelchair legs when he's carrying an object. Then you continue blowing out more fires. Is Big Soup how corporations see minimum wage workers? I thought he was supposed to be the most stereotypical tough guy. Why are all these games making him come off as the most uninteresting twerp ever written in media? The DS game did it, 64 did it, now this game is doing it. It's a genuine question if there's a single person who enjoyed themselves while repeating the same objectives mission to mission, handling controls that are needlessly irritating, and worst of all, has you restart from the beginning if you fail a single objective. Putting into words how laughably pathetic Man of Steel is cannot be done. You'd initially believe it's the pinnacle of rot on the original Xbox, but it does have a few rivals, as we know, with Drake of the 99 Dragons, Aquaman, Pulse Racer, amongst a few other sickening sludge-ass games that are nothing more than a waste. What's sort of stunning though is that the Xbox seems to be spared from the premium shoveled-up dirt the PS2 has. From my discoveries, I wasn't able to find many gaming escapades that have a deep, rich, depressing narrative behind them. A lot of them were very simple and straightforward, week-old mayonnaise. A prime example is Seablade, a game that unfortunately has the same control scheme as Superman, where you move up and down with the right analog stick, and the left has you move forwards and backwards. I'd love to know if there was a short time frame in the early 2000s where this control scheme was the meta, with companies around the globe wanting to try to pull this technique off for their games. All I can say is that it doesn't work, especially here when the core handling of your ship is Viagra'd out. You can hardly move or shoot to kill the enemy ships who blast you away in seconds. Why there's no lock-on to try alleviating the control frustration is beyond the physical realm. No mortal can comprehend it. It only takes a matter of seconds to realize what you just spent your money on was not worth it, and you might as well have given the cash to that strange trench-coated man who tries to sell you bizarre pills with a sad face on the front. I guess it's a positive for the console though. The Phoenix blast or data design virus didn't spread in the green camp. But I'm curious to hear all of your thoughts on these games, like if you're the biggest fan of Man of Steel, or if you have any more Xbox games that cannot cut any mustard at all, please let me know down in the comments. Big ups to all of our channel members who go above and beyond each and every month, generously supporting the channel even further. If you would like to join them and get early access to content, make sure to hit the join button right next to the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, take very good care of yourselves, and I hope to see you all again in the next video.